Well, good morning, guys. It is Clark from Ruoff Mortgage, and welcome to a live version of our weekly Wednesday. Can you believe it? We are in a time where it is pretty interesting and crazy. So just wanted to kind of give you an update as to what's going on in the world in terms of mortgages and the mortgage industry. I got a question this week, actually this morning, about interest rates in terms of refinances and purchases. We want to make sure we address that question, as well as jumbos and options there. So just want to make sure that we are covering all the bases, and want to encourage you as well, if you have questions, to reach out, and we'll be sure to answer them on one of our feeds. So, this is supposed to be beneficial for you, but this isn't about us and just getting together and talking. This is to provide helpful information for you, so that you can in turn be the expert when you're talking to your clients. So let's talk about a few things. First of all, the interest rates. Okay. So the question was asked to me, actually, I believe it was late last night. Interest rates, where are they? And do purchase rates, are they cheaper than refinance rates? And typically the answer is yes. So there's a myriad of reasons why. I'm not going to get too nerdy and technical on that. You don't really care why, but it is the case. So right now, if you're looking at a situation, and I will preface this with, it has been a wild ride in the last 10 business days in the mortgage industry. Okay. We had last week 10 reprices for the worst, meaning what that means is pricing was set, the market opens, pricing is set, and the market went sideways. It got worse in terms of the industry. And so therefore pricing, we had to adjust that in the middle of the day, right? And things got worse 10 times in the matter of last week alone. Now, sometimes there were 3 and 4 in one day. So it's very frustrating on our end, especially if you're talking to a client at 10 o'clock in the morning and say, hey, here's what we can do for you. We can do whatever rate. And then they call you back at 2 o'clock and say, yeah, let's go ahead and lock that in. And you say, yeah, I can't do that anymore. The rate's actually 3/8 higher than when we talked at 10 o'clock in the morning. So that's frustrating for us. It's frustrating for the client, because the normal consumer doesn't even understand that that's even a possibility. And so it really speaks to us and in terms of our credibility, and makes it difficult for us to demonstrate integrity when the market's doing this to us. But it is a real thing. And the analogy that I like to use is this. If you are looking into, if you've ever done and purchased any individual stocks, if you log into whatever software you choose or whatever company that you choose to buy a stock at, and let's say it's $100 when the market opens, and then you say, yeah, I want to go ahead and do that. And you go back at 3 hours later and say, I want to buy that stock. And at that point, it's $103 or $102, whatever. It's a higher price. You can't go back and say to them, hey, this morning I saw it at 100. I want to buy it at 100. It doesn't work like that. Same thing. Interest rates are exactly the same way. Until you actually lock it in, it's subject to where the current market is. So understand that and educate your clients in terms of their decision-making process with that. Okay, so let's talk about where they are. Right now, I looked this morning, and this is assuming a ideal situation, 20% down, loan amount over $250,000. Actually, no, I'd use $300,000 purchase with 20% down. So it would be a purchase price of a loan amount of $240,000. So you're looking at, today, right now in this moment at 10:08, you're looking at 3.375%. That's with no points. That's on a 30-year fix. Nothing weird. That's what that's looking at. That same exact situation, 20% equity, great credit above a 740, stuff like that. Good debt ratios and nothing weird going on. Primary residence, because we know that investment properties don't have the same rates as primary residence. Interestingly enough, a second home does. So maybe a different discussion another day, talking about the difference between a second home and an investment property. But the interest rate on a second home is the same as a primary residence. Just the down payment requirement is a little bit different. Spoiler alert. So anyways, moving forward, with the refinance, you're probably looking at something roughly in the same situation. I would say probably like 3.5, maybe even 3.625, depending on where things fall and time of day. So just to kind of give you an idea of where interest rates are. So how is that impacting you and what's going on with that? Well, how it's impacting you is compared to a year ago. Interest rates are a full percent lower than where they were last spring. So I would encourage you, this is a way for you to be able to find business that you already have within your grasp. Two ways. One, direct business. Those buyers that you were talking to last spring, and I hope that you keep a good database of clients and you take good notes and you date the entries and you know what's going on. I would hearken you or encourage you to hearken back to a year ago. Look at the people that were looking in January, February, March, April of last year that said, you know what, I'm not finding anything I like. I'm going to go ahead and sign a year lease again. Guess what happens right now? That lease is getting ready to expire. Even the people that you talk to in May and June, those are the perfect people because their lease is getting ready to expire, right? And so they're starting to think about, what are my next steps? Get back with them and talk to them. Because the interest rates are a percent lower, here's what it translates for you. Depending on the price point you're looking at, anywhere between $25,000 and $50,000. That's basically just looking at roughly between a purchase price of $250,000 and $500,000. Between $25,000 and $50,000 in additional purchase power. So what does that mean? Well, if we're looking at last spring, we were looking at a $250,000 house. We can buy now a $275,000 house for the same exact payment that we had last year for that $250,000. That's powerful. How would you like to go back to your clients and talk to those clients that were looking in the $200,000 range and say, hey, guess what? We can now purchase at $220,000. That opens up other opportunities for us that maybe before we are capped and you didn't like it because location or the condition of the home, whatever. So it gives them additional purchasing power. That's huge for you and huge for them, most importantly. Let's not forget why we're here. Number two, if you are not reaching out to your clients that you work with in the past, in 2019, 2018 and beyond, if you're not reaching out to them to say, hey, just wanted to give you the heads up. Don't know if you've made a change or not, but if you have not considered a refinance, you need to call my guys and have them do a complimentary mortgage review. If you have not done that, you are doing your clients a disservice. You're like, Clark, I'm not in the mortgage business. Why are you asking me to do your job? You may have that thought to go through your mind, so I'm going to call it out. I'm not asking you to do my job. What I'm asking you to do is make sure you are looking out for the best interest of your clients. You never want them to be able to say to you, and listen to me, why and when interest rates go back up, because they will, Mr. or Mrs. Realtor, why didn't you let me know that I could have locked in an interest rate in the mid threes on a refinance? What possible response would you have at that moment? What are you going to say? Well, I didn't really want it to be awkward. Or, well, I didn't want to bother you. If you're calling someone up and saying, hey, depending on where they are and their rate, depending on where they are and their loan amount, we're saving people $200 a month in some cases. Do you think that your client would be upset with you if you called them up and say, hey, why don't you call one of my guys because they have the opportunity to save you a bunch of money. Don't throw out $200 a month because you don't know if that's their story. It might be more. But definitely telling them, hey, you need to talk to my guys because, and once again, the review is complimentary. If they're in a good spot, then we'll let them know that. But I guarantee you, I know 100% of assurance that if they purchase their home, especially in 2018 and beyond, they have a higher interest rate than what it is right now. And in most cases, even 2019. Sometimes people bought rates down and so forth. So there are some exceptions. But for the most part, the large majority of people are overpaying on their mortgage. Right now, with all this uncertainty of what's going on, People are looking for ways that they can save money and cut back. Here's an opportunity for that. And why does this benefit you? Well, I'm glad you asked. Who are they going to remember that initiated the conversation? Who are they going to remember as the one that was able to encourage them to actually save that type of money per month? For some people, all it needs to be right now is $75, $50 a month. And that would be a huge savings for them. They get to skip a mortgage payment in the middle of all this uncertainty after we close. That's kind of a big deal for a lot of people. They will get a escrow refund after we close. That, in some cases, could be thousands of dollars of additional money in their pocket. And once again, they will remember that you were the one that suggested it. And then when it comes time for them to get ready to sell their house, who do you think they're going to call? Some random person that they found on Google, or the person that helped them during this crazy Corona scare, let's call it. Concern. I like that word better. Corona concern. You're going to be the name that they recall, and you're going to be the name that they remember because you helped them out in a time of need. So, where are we at in the market? Interest rates are significantly low. Historically low, right? The lowest rates we had seen in mortgage history 2 weeks ago, Friday. This coming up Friday, 2 weeks ago, was the lowest mortgage rates in history. Not just in my lifetime, not since I've been in the business, since a mortgage even became a thing. Now, are we there right now? No, we're not. But we're so close to it, it doesn't even matter. We're still at historically low rates. It's a great time for people to purchase a home. It is a great time for people to sell their home. Oh, let's talk about that. As a listing agent, you can go back to people that had their house on the market, that pulled it off for whatever reason. There is going to be an additional pool of buyers that are available to buy their home because of the fact that the interest rates are lower. All those people that can buy $25,000 to $50,000 in additional homes now are going to be able to look at your place that you had listed previously because they couldn't afford it before. Now they can. So I would encourage you to make sure you circle back to those people and say, hey, are you still looking to list your home? Because this is a great market. There are buyers out there. Inventory is low. There are many situations. There are multiple offers. Great time to sell your place and great time to buy your place. So we're not in a seller's market. We're not in a buyer's market. We're in a buyer and seller market. Great interest rates, and there's not a ton of inventory. So there are people that are looking to buy homes. So great time for your clients to list their home as well. Last note about jumbos. I had a question about jumbo. I will tell you that in my experience, most clients do own jumbo, by the way, is anything north of 510,000. Let's just call it. Technically it's 510, 400, but you won't remember that number. So $510,000. So anything above that, anytime you finance more than that, not a purchase, but you finance more than that, then you get into jumbo loans, which aren't the best loan. They're harder to qualify for. Interest rates are always higher. So I did get a question about this yesterday, so I wanted to make sure I bring it out with you guys as well. So two strategies that I look at. A lot of times, without exception, most of my clients that are financing more than $510,000, they'll do one of two things. One, they look at a 7-year ARM, which is based on a 30-year payment, and the interest rate is very competitive with a conventional mortgage. And here's the thing. Inside of those 7 years, either one or two things are going to happen. They're going to sell anyway, or they're going to pay it down enough so they can get down into a conventional loan. Strategy number one. Strategy number two, which I have a client doing this right now. What we do is we finance up to $510,000 on a first mortgage, and then we can do a second mortgage for the difference. And of course, they have their down payment and so forth. Way easier to qualify. And we have a situation where now they can take advantage of these low rates because jumbo rates kind of lag way behind any other type of pricing in terms of cuts. They're a lot more stable and they kind of just stay high all the time, basically, compared to conventional rates in general. So hopefully this was helpful for you guys. If you need anything, do not hesitate to reach out. Stay safe out there. Stay healthy. Make sure you are doing all the appropriate things and taking care of your families. If you need anything, do not hesitate to reach out. I am here in the office, but I am by myself. So it's kind of like a self-quarantine as it were in the office. Everybody else is working from home. But if you need anything, do not hesitate to reach out. All of us are available by our cell phones or email. Don't hesitate to reach out. We're here for you guys. And as always, choose a great day. See you next time.